Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Scarpel again, and we're going to continue solving absolute value equations in this video. And in the previous one, we were solving equations where we had absolute value equal to an integer. In this one, we're going to have absolute value expressions or absolute values equal to an expression that involves a variable. And when that happens, we may end up with what are called extraneous solutions. And the key part to that word extraneous are the first 5 letters, extra, meaning we have extra solutions. But what happens is those solutions do not satisfy the equation. They do not solve the equation. So the process for solving these problems is much like we do when we have integers. We're going to assume that 6n is a positive value to begin with, that the absolute value of 3n plus 18 equals some positive value. And we're going to write 2 equations. 3n plus 18 equals 6n in its positive form, and 3n plus 18 is going to equal negative 6n. So the other side of 0 on the number line. And then we solve each equation. So with the first equation, I'm going to subtract 3n first, and we have 18 equals 3n. Divide both sides by 3, and we have 6 equals n. Then we need to solve the second equation. Start by dividing or subtracting 3n on each side, and we have 18 equals negative 9n in this case, and then we divide each side by negative 9, and a positive divided by a negative gives us a negative 2 equals n. So now we need to check. It's very important you check, especially when it's set equal to an expression that has a variable. So let's check our work. Does the absolute value of 3 times 6 plus 18, and I'm checking this with the original equation. I'm not checking with the 2 equations I wrote to solve it, but the very original. Does that equal 6 times 6? Well, 3 times 6 is 18. So now we're asking ourselves, does the absolute value of 18 plus 18 equal 36? 18 plus 18 is 36. Is the absolute value of 36? 36. Is it 36 units away from 0, and is it a positive 36? Well, since absolute value is a distance from 0, its absolute value is a positive 36. Since this statement is true, we know that 6 equals n is a solution. Now let's check for negative 2. Does 3 times negative 2 plus 18, the absolute value of that, does that equal 6 times negative 2? 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 plus 18. So does the absolute value of negative 6 plus 18 equal negative 12? Well, the way I said that, does the absolute value of negative 6 plus 18 equal negative 12? Some of you might have already caught on, well, that can't happen because absolute value can't equal 0. But if you'd like to see further, we can do negative 6 plus 18 is a positive 12, but is the absolute value of positive 12 going to equal negative 12? Remember, absolute value is how far away from 0 is it? It's 12 units. It's a positive 12. Well, positive 12 is not the same thing as negative 12 because that is not a true statement. Negative 2 is not a solution. We call this an extraneous solution. So the only solution to this problem is that n equals 6. So now that you've seen me or watched me work through this example, I would like you to take some time to solve this example. The absolute value of x plus 6 equals 2x. So hopefully you wrote x plus 6 equals 2x and subtracted x from each side. And we should have x equals 6. And then you should have also written x plus 6 equals negative 2x and solved. And I already indicate that x equals negative 2 is not a solution. And I came up with that when I solved because I checked my answer. When I substituted 6 in for x, I had absolute value of 6 plus 6, which is 12. And its absolute value is 12, should equal 2 times 6, which is 12. So that means this is a solution. But when I substitute negative 2 in for x, I have absolute value of 4. Does that equal negative 4? Well, absolute value of 4 is 4. It does not equal negative 4. So negative 2 is not a solution. It's an extraneous solution. So be careful when solving absolute value equations. If you have an absolute value that is set equal to an algebraic expression, an expression with a variable, that you are making sure that you check for extraneous solutions.